What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast. Today, it is my favorite episode of the year, my favorite project, the WPIAL Preseason Preview. So pumped up to release this to you guys. Just right off the bat, we're doing it a little bit different than we did last year. Last year, I had them all together on one. It was like 3 hours long. It was a lot. This year, I'm changing it up. Each single team is going to have their own little video, their own little episode of the pod. So you won't have to sift through all the other stuff. Super excited for that. We talked to all these different coaches, man. I had 30 guys come on from across AA and AAA, which shattered my goals for this year, which is awesome. So yeah, man, I'm just super excited to release this to you guys. It was a lot of fun. These coaches were open and honest. They had great insight, and for me, man, just to sit down and listen to these guys talk about what they're wrestling, there's not much better in my world. So without further ado, here is the WPIAL Preseason Preview. Thank you, guys. Love Jens. As always, brought to you by Switch Custom Apparel.
Welcome to the Near Falls WPIAL Show, where Dial and Kaz are gonna tell you all the things you wanna know. Whether it's Trinity or Spencer Lee or Mr. Kurt Angle, just ask Vinny D, WPIAL, yeah, Ken and Mac for sure. They got the interviews to soothe your soul, because it's Near Falls in the WPIAL.
Okay, joining me next on the call, we have head coach of Latrobe High School, Coach Mark Mears. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Don. How are you?
I'm doing real good. Super pumped up to have you on, as always. Super pumped up to talk about the Wildcats. But first things first, man, let's get right into it. A new question I have this year on the preview, alumni update. Who's wrestling in college? I know you have some big names doing some big things in college, but who's wrestling in college, and what's the alumni looking like?
Yeah, right now, last year I graduated 3 Division I guys with, Corey Borio going to Kent State, along with Nate Roth, and of course Vinny Kilcarry going to Ohio State. So I know that Corey and Vinny just wrestled last weekend at the Clarion Open. I was able to catch a couple matches on my computer of those guys wrestling. I don't know that Nate's hit the mat yet with his shoulder rehab and stuff still going on, but Jack Pletcher went to Pitt, of course, and he also wrestled at Clarion Open. Of course, to be honest, follow him a little closer because my daughter has him on, of course, being engaged to Luke Pletcher, his brother.
Maybe some family ties there, right?
Yeah, a little bit. And he went 5-2, so I was really happy for Jack. I mean, he looked really good down at 149, so.
Yeah, he wrestled, 152 his senior year, so him down at 149. I was kind of surprised to see that looking at
because now I think I should have him 47.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you. Okay, so as we go on here, how was the offseason program?
It was good. A little bit different than the last couple of years, a little bit younger team, a lot of but a lot of our younger guys train with clubs too. So it's going to be interesting. I think when people see that you lose that kind of wrestling power in the last couple of years of your lineup, that there should be this down year. But I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. I think what they don't see is the guys wrestling these guys in the room every night and now getting their chance to show what they can do. So I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, it'll be interesting it's like next wave up, so to speak. And we're going to see what happens. We have some good leadership and we have a lot of talent. So I think, we're going to be 2 different teams. I think we're going to be one team in December, and then when a weight descent comes and an added weight comes, and I think in January we'll be a different team. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how this plays out.
Okay, so you talk about we talked about just a minute ago obviously some of the best kids ever to come through the program graduated last year. How do you replace those guys? Who's some of the leaders that you're looking to step up and fill those shoes?
Well, I'm careful that I try not to tell the guy I don't want them to be them. I don't want to feel like you have to replace them. I think you just fill in the spots and build with what you have. But we have some, you return a kid like Luke Willishell, already a 2-time state place winner, and he's only a junior. And Leo Joseph won 35 matches last year, and he's only a junior. Braden Bronson's back, and this will be his third year starting. So there's 3, and Jake Braun's back. This will be his 4th year in there. So Lucas Braun's back. They're seniors, the twin brothers. So there's 5 or 6 guys with a lot of experience, and then we have younger guys. At 89, we'd have my son's back, Brock, and he actually weighs 190 something this year instead of 169.
So he'll actually be a real 189 pounder this year.
Well, at least weigh that. At least weigh that. Marco Scartno, I thought, did a real nice job last year.
Yes.
Filling in when Wyatt Held went down, is back at heavyweight as a junior. And we get Cody Crawl back this year, 215, who we didn't have last year. He hurt his shoulder, his labor, and he was out the whole year. So he's back. And we have some young guys coming up too. So
yeah. So who are some of those freshmen that we need to keep an eye on?
Well, we have little Brody Bronson at 107. But to be honest, we also have Hunter Snyder coming up, and he'll go 172. He wrestled 173 this weekend down at the Monroeville Convention Center at the club duels that they had down there. State champion last year in 9th grade at 8th grade at the junior high states. He's a freshman, has a lot more experience than most freshmen, and he finished second at Fargo this summer. So when you're talking about freshmen splashing onto the scene, hopefully Hunter can stay healthy and show what he can do.
That's a big freshman, 172 pounds. I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, it's a little different up there. Yeah, that's the big boy district, I call it. And you're going to wrestle a lot of juniors and seniors. You're not going to get many freshmen. So, like I said, he's pretty seasoned for it, and I think he'll do just fine. I mean, it's always an adjustment, but that's why I said by January this team could. I think we won't have a forfeit this year in a lineup where we have solid guys everywhere, and I think dual meet wise, we could be just as tough this year as we were last year.
Nice.
Now, as far as the individuals, the tournaments and things, that's how fast they grow and gel. And remember, when you're young, you're not any seeding credentials, so you're always facing a salmon upstream, so to speak, when you're young.
Very true. Very true point. Yeah, no doubt. Okay. So we talked about the guys coming back. You have a whole slew of guys coming back. We talked about some freshmen, including a super freshman that we all need to keep our eye on. What about the coaching staff? Who's coming back with you? Who's helping you lead these guys this year?
We'll actually have our whole staff back.
Okay.
We did lose our assistant junior high coach, but I replaced him we hired Jake Willishell, Luke's older brother. Wrestled at Seton Hill and coached some at Hempfield. So we feel that's a strong addition to bring his talents into the junior high room, and of course help in the varsity room when I need him. And we have another volunteer assistant that people don't know that probably doesn't get enough credit. Steve Bell does a lot of work with us. He was a state champion for Connellsville. He was a 2-time three-time ACC champion for Maryland when he wrestled a 2-time NCAA All-American Division I. So his son's in our youth program, so he comes in quite a bit in evening workouts with the kids with us, and he helps run our JO program. And so Steve, he's on the bench coaching some with us sometimes. So he's kind of that little hidden secret. Nice. I always say, surround yourself with as much talent as you can get.
Absolutely, man. I love that. Good stuff. Okay. Next thing I have on the docket, schedule, man. What's it look like this year? You guys, I remember a few years ago, you guys took a trip out to Colorado, really loaded it, King of the Mountain, all kinds of stuff going on. Last year, a little bit different. What's it look like this year?
This year's probably a mix between those two. We actually were on the verge of going to Fort Lauderdale to wrestle in the Fort Lauderdale duels over Christmas because you get 10 guaranteed matches.
Nice.
And so when I was looking at this team, I was trying to figure out how to get a young team as many matches as possible. So I was looking for team stuff, and we just honestly, what actually canceled it in our mind was there's just not enough pilots and things. And if you get stuck there, that's a little pricier than when we got stranded in Colorado. So the team really wants to go back to Colorado next year. So we're working to see if we can make that happen. But
nice.
For this year, we're going to start off with the Trinity Duels on December 9th. We used to go to the Hickory tournament, and we may return to that someday, but they do it December 2nd. They're trapped into that date right now. And that's just too fast with now, to get ready with everything with Thanksgiving.
You guys had a pretty good football year this year.
Yes, we did. And I'm glad for those kids because, Latrobe football has been fighting for so long to build up to that type of thing. And that's another thing. There's Bronson and Kroll and Scart and all our guys. It's going to take them a little time to get into shape. So Trinity duels fit because young kids get 5 matches. And that's there's good teams down there. Trinity himself is coming back with a really good team. So North Allegheny, I think, Sarah Penn Trafford. So we'll get plenty of action, but they'll all get 5 matches. And like I said, when you're young at tournaments, a lot of times you get seeded kids right away. And I don't want them to go 2 matches or 3 matches. I want to give them 5. So we're starting with the Trinity duels. Then we will go to the King of the Mountain. And then this year over Christmas, we're going out to the Bethlehem Holiday Classic. I want to start wrestling the eastern side of the state more. Nazareth, Easton, Parkland, Northampton, all those schools. That's a huge tournament out there. Pyrate's great, and it's so powerful that it's almost not intimidating, but like
it's like a prep tournament almost now. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, and Frank has probably the toughest tournament in the country, maybe.
No doubt.
And when you have a young team, it's really not a recipe for getting any experience.
Yeah, no doubt.
I have a couple guys that could maybe win a few matches down there, but I've really been wanting a long time to get to the eastern side of the state, and to wrestle that half. So then when you get to the team duels, the individuals, you see the Eastons already. You've already wrestled against Northampton and Nazareth and see what they have. So we're excited. We're going to go there right after Christmas. And then we go right into the counties, and sure, everybody wants a piece of us there. We've won the last 2, so I'm sure we're the target and everyone. We'll take that as a challenge maybe. And then we are going to go to the Connellsville duels this year. Another thing where I can get them all 5 more matches. Try to develop this young team before the postseason. And we've talked to Connellsville. It's actually 2 days after we wrestle them. So we're going to make sure we're in different brackets. We're not going to wrestle twice in 4 days. Right. I do want to wrestle some of the out-of-state teams and different teams. So I think they're going to try to make that happen. So in a nutshell, we're doing everything we can to get this young team 30 to 40 matches every kid.
I love that. Okay. Next I got room games. What do you guys get into? Your dodgeball team, kickball team. I had wiffle ball yesterday. That was wild. What do you guys get into?
Well, they discovered a game in Colorado 2 years ago. I try to stay away from dodgeball because as soon as you get some tempers flying and balls flying at people's heads, I'm like, my luck, one of the doingers would hit somebody square in the head with the ball, and then I would be in front of the administration. Why'd you get a kid drilled with a dodgeball? Because I think they even stopped that in gym classes nowadays.
Right.
But they have this game they call wall ball.
Okay.
So picture a net taped on the wall, and picture lacrosse without sticks in this ball. And I think there's rules to it that you can only take 2 steps. And you have to throw to someone else then. And it's really a tremendous warm-up activity actually before practice. I let them do it from 3 to 3:15, and they're soaked when they're done. They're having a little fun, and they have their teams, and it's a little harmless unless you're the goalie. The ball comes flying at you pretty close. There's not many saves.
I was gonna say you get in there, you try to get in there and scrap with those guys.
Oh no! I have to. Some of the assistant coaches try, but I'm past. My ego's past it. I sit in the side. I keep the clock, and then they say, "Coach, you could be a goalie," and I said, "You can be out of your mind."
Why don't you sneak in there, get a little goalie action in? Come on.
Yeah,
Coach.
but there's if you make a save in this game, it's by accident. You just like Frank Peterangelo years ago in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You just accidentally there. But that's what they do. They call it wall ball, and it's actually kind of funny. They get into it. They know the score. They know who's cheating, who's not.
I love that. Yeah, I added that question this year, man, and I'll be honest with you, I think it's one of my favorites. That's a good one. It's interesting to see what everyone gets into. And then on top of that, I've had the coaches say, like, it's interesting to see the guys come out with a different competitive side than just wrestling. Put a ball in their hands and they start getting after it a little bit. So
I always say throw a ball out there and kids will think of something.
Yeah, literally. You're not wrong there, my friend. Love that. Okay. Next thing I got. Social medias. How can we follow your squad this year?
We do have a Facebook page run through our booster club. I know there's an Instagram account that I believe is controlled by Hannah, my daughter, actually, and the assistant athletic director, so that everything's filtered that goes out there before it goes out there.
Right, of course.
But I know that we do have I think it's Greater Latrobe Wrestling on our Facebook page. And then Latrobe has the streaming service too, where when we're at home, the matches can be streamed on their school network.
Nice.
Like they do the football games and soccer and stuff. So fans can watch us without being at the event.
Awesome. Okay, Coach. Anything or anyone you want to shout out before I leave you go?
No, I just want to wish everybody luck. And hopefully, as we find out last year, I tell people everyone can make all these predictions, but as we found out, unfortunately, with Wyatt held last year, injuries happen so fast that you just hope they all stay healthy. These kids have all worked hard for every team, and we're looking forward to the challenge of a new team growing up, and let's see what happens.
Good stuff as always, Coach. Can't wait to see you at some of the tournaments, and good luck this season.
Thank you very much for having us, Tom.
Appreciate you.